Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, depending on the time you are joining us and where you join us from today. We're just slowly starting our welcome process. More than 70 people registered today. And we have a bit of echo here, which will be solved very soon. Thank you, Amy. So we have around 34 participants. It's your phone. We have around 34 participants. Welcome, everybody. My name is Alexandre Alaphilippe. I'm the co-founder and executive director of EU DisinfoLab. I'm very happy to welcome you today to our first webinar of 2024 at EU DisinfoLab. Before I start to introduce our guest speaker today and the topics we're going to discuss, just a few housekeeping rules. We're going to take questions mostly using slido.com. So you see here there is a very nice QR code. I don't need to tell you how to flash it to be able to join us. Just to see if everybody can join us on Slido, we're going to go to the next slide quickly, Maria, just to check on where are you joining us from. So please join, whether you're using the QR code or slido.com 3533132. We have 42 participants in this room, so of course we should have 42 different locations, or maybe less, but at least 42 participants. Meanwhile, you are slowly but surely putting this data on. Just want to welcome you. So EU DisinfoLab is organizing regular webinars. You may have been a participant in some of them. We're going to have many webinars this year because it's a mega election year. And our team and our community has shared with us many different topics they would like to talk about, and we'll talk and we'll show you and give you already the next dates with the registration links available for the next webinars. So feel free to join us for any of the future events. We'll try to have them at a regular time and a regular day. So basically, you might be always sure there will be a webinar at some point of EU DisinfoLab with fantastic speakers. So we have people coming from very different people in Europe with a big Vilnius. Hello to all Lithuanian friends. Hope everything is fine. Brussels, North Carolina in the US, Warsaw, Greensboro, Strasbourg, Madrid, Berlin. So quite good things. 46 participants. We're going to go to the next slide. Please let us know which sector do you represent, which is also very interesting for us to be able to tailor a bit the topic and to be able also to accommodate your questions and answer. Thank you for that. Meanwhile, I am very, very happy to welcome today a very good friend of EU DisinfoLab, Aleksandra Atanasova. Aleksandra, welcome. Good afternoon. Aleksandra, you're a NOSINT investigation lead at Reset. And if you don't know Reset, Reset is a global not-for-profit with a public interest mission. And Reset investigates, documents, and explains how digital media products are exploited and manipulated to threaten the security, safety, and welfare of democratic societies. And everybody, of course, thanks you for this. Aleksandra at Reset, and Reset in general, has produced many investigations and many relevant papers in the past month and in the past year. One thing I would like to mention, as we are on the DSA implementation phase, a very interesting document on systemic risks under the DSA and Russian disinformation. Really interesting to read. I encourage you to deep dive into this, and we're happy to provide the link in the chat at a later stage if there is some interest. So quite a good distribution of participants here. Non-governmental, academia, EU, institution, international organization, diplomatic service, business, other, and media downside, media 5%. We're going to take the floor. We're going to leave the floor to Aleksandra for approximately 25-30 minutes of presentation, and then we'll go back to Q&A. Aleksandra, the floor is yours. You can share the screen.
Thank you, Alex, for this nice introduction. I am sharing my screen now. Hope you can see it. Let me just enlarge it a little bit. So, hello everyone. Thank you for joining this exciting webinar on Moldova. I will present you a couple of key findings that we have been doing on a Facebook campaign launched on behalf of the Moldovan politician and businessman Ilan Shor. For those of you who don't know, Mr. Shor is a pretty controversial figure in Moldova. He has been put on the sanction list of a couple of Western governments throughout the past year and a half. We discovered a campaign that was going on his behalf together with our partners from Watchdog Moldova. It mostly contains Facebook ads exclusively. It's the biggest Facebook ad campaign that we have so far discovered in Moldova. That was happening that started last year and continued until this very moment, because the campaign is still active and ongoing. So as you hopefully see from my slide, you will have a lot of money, a lot of gas, some kind of deep fakes. You see here Moldova's president with wearing a hijab, and of course a shady politician in the mix. So it's an exciting mixture of different elements that constitute a really good pro-Russian op. Why I'm saying pro-Russian is that obviously because Mr. Shor has been put on the sanction list for cooperating with Russia to do foreign interference in the Republic of Moldova, including election interference and different types of sanctions, which I will touch upon in a couple of minutes. To let you know that none of those activities that we have seen on Facebook have been regulated on time and adequately enough by the platform, meaning Meta. This is my main point of concern in this presentation. The Facebook campaign has been pretty much let loose by the platform, which obviously is problematic not only because the person is under sanctions, including US sanctions, and Meta is a US company, but also because of the type of the content that violates a lot of policies and the tactics that are being used to push those ads online. All of which I will talk in a second. Before we dive into the details, I want to give a huge thank you to my co-partner in this investigation, Andrei Rusu, who is researcher from Watchdog Moldova. Watchdog Moldova and Reset joined together to do this investigation, and Andrei was my point of contact for the local ecosystem. He was the one who Watchdog Moldova was the one who discovered those ads and sent it over to us. It happened in November. So one November afternoon, I was just sitting, watching the rain, and all of a sudden, Andrei comes to chat to me and says, "Okay, we have a couple of ads," and he shows those to me, and I immediately recognize a very familiar face. So these are some of the ads that we have collected from November. As you see, this is the face of Mr. Shor talking, making different types of video statements, defending a sort of a couple of key narratives there. We saw that this campaign has been launched by several very weird pages, all newly created pages with some kind of very patriotic names, like Moldova in Unity, Prosperous Moldova on a world level. Very shady, weirdy, fishy pages that were created just a couple of months prior to launching this campaign. Obviously, we were interested right away, and we started collecting all the ads that we could find on the ad library, and we ended up with a very long list. The thing that's happened in this campaign, first is mostly it targets different areas in Moldova, also the capital, but mostly targets Transnistria and Gagauzia, those kind of separatist regions that are very much oriented towards Russia. So it also targets like general Moldovan population. They are bilingual ads, Russian, Romanian. They contain mostly video statements, but also kind of like longer, short text around Mr. Shore's ambitions to make better conditions for living in the set areas, or like improve infrastructure, create more schools, do environmental projects, etc. Mr. Shore's disgruntlement towards Moldova's European integration path. As we know, the country has already started negotiation talks with the EU for joining the European Union, which is not something that that Mr. Shore is a fan of, as well as those ads go. So it's a lot of anti-EU rhetoric, like defending key elements that, for example, he can provide cheaper gas, that the government of President Sandu is not really doing enough to support the citizens of Moldova, that they are puppets of the West, etc. So it's like the usual palette of narratives that we see in some kind of like Russian operations campaigns. We started to collect those ads, as I said, and as I'm speaking, those ads are still kind of being pumped up on Facebook. There are a couple of new examples done with AI. Obviously, it's like here you see it's like the EU flag. A lot of this is about, a lot of the rhetoric is about anti-EU and how a bad idea is it that Moldova will join the EU. We have outright disinformation, even like total violent language against Maya Sandu, the president. Here we have like one ad which is a deepfake video. We have a couple of deepfake videos that were pushed by those ads. This one is she's talking about the Western integration, wearing a hijab, some other memes as well. So it's kind of like a mixture of different types of narratives, but of course also obvious attacks towards the Moldova democratic and European kind of like direction at the moment. However, this is like not the first time that we've seen such things evolve on Facebook, and I hope you can see my mouse now. I just want us to wait through this timeline a little bit to tell you how this thing has been evolving over the past year and a half. So it's the second time that we ring the bell that such campaigns are happening, done by anonymous fake pages, newly created assets that should not be doing political advertising at all. So the first investigation that we did was in February last year, where we analyzed a smaller scale campaign, again done by those pages, again glorifying Mr. Shore's actions and views around Moldova's political direction. We have 32 ads collected by 5 of those pages, and with all total budget of 23,000 euros. This let's be very clear. This happens after Mr. Shore's official Facebook page was demonetized by Facebook as a result of the U.S. Department of Treasury sanctions posed under this over the individual for election interference and defending Russian interests in the Republic of Moldova. Before October 2020, when the first actions came into being, all previous advertising was run through his official Facebook page, which is a verified page. It has like 100,000 followers, and all advertising was run by this page. After the sanction and after his asset was demonetized, the campaign took a kind of like a weirder form. So once we raised the bell in February, we had a couple of media hits. For example, Associated Press also kind of published around this. We did not see a lot of actions being taken by Meta in a case like, for example, let's remove the ads or the pages. Those 5 pages that we first discovered in February are still active. I checked yesterday. So it's been pretty much ongoing, and in December, when we published our second investigation, which contains a much larger set of ads that we saw, like it's 610 ads, 280,000 euro maximum budget was spent by those ads. We ring the bell. We have a couple of press like Le Monde, Süddeutsche, Wired posted about it. I think after Wired did ask Meta what's happening with those ads and why they're being tolerated for months. You see, it happened, the campaign started in July. For months, they were being tolerated. Meta deleted the ads, they took down the pages, but the campaign is practically still continuing, because to this day, from January this year onwards, we have 80 new ads, 20,000 euros being spent again by a sort of like shady pages that are being exploited for these purposes. And now I want you to focus on those two events. Like, we have the local elections in Moldova in November, which is why this whole campaign raged on with such a high budget. Like, it was as a preparation of this kind of electoral campaign, trying to shift a little bit the vote into direction opposite to the pro-Western orientation of the country. And I also want you to focus on April, somewhere around April last year, when we had a very interesting network of automatically created pages or bots that was launched on Facebook, remained empty for a while, and then started launching ads. I'm going to talk about this in the next slides, but just as information. And here, of course, with the deep yellow, you can see like the number of actions that have been imposed throughout this period on the assets on Mr. Short by numerous governments. The last one was Canada, but also EU sanctions were imposed in May last year. Notwithstanding this, everything is raging on Meta. One slide to give you a better visibility of what's happening before and after the first set of sanctions were imposed. So before October, everything on behalf of Elon Shaw was done by Mr. Shaw's official page. After this, we have this kind of campaign still continues as high as before, after a regroup period of a couple of months. And obviously, other types of pages are being employed. The budget, pretty hefty. Let's say an estimate of 300,000 euros on maximum was spent. It may be a bit more, it may be a bit less, but for the sake of having a round number, let's say it's this, which is 23% of the total budgets of all ads that were run in Moldova since Meta started taking scores. Like ad library archive for the Republic of Moldova from Meta starts in August 2020, and we have 1.2 million euro that are spent on 45,000 ads, amongst which a substantial amount on political advertising on behalf of Mr. Shore. So obviously this is a lot of money. This is the problem is obviously it's big, not because not because it's a lot of money, but it's also it shouldn't be happening at the first place. Political advertising in Eastern Europe, our observation is that it's pretty much uncharted territory. Meta really doesn't care that much about what's happening there. If you train a dog to retrieve the ads, I mean, I'm sure that it can possibly happen simply because a lot of those ads mention Mr. Shore's name in either Romanian or Russian, which makes it like very, very hard, very easy to compile the sample of advertising. So here comes questions. If you have an individual who has been sanctioned by the, let's say, US government or whatever, if you have any kind of politicians, shouldn't it be a good idea to kind of monitor what's being posted with their name on those ads? Maybe it's a good idea to get this kind of some high priority moderation of such content when names are mentioned. And also another issue is the faces. Like we have a research that shows that actually dogs can recognize faces. They are owners from other people. Dogs don't really care about faces very much. They recognize smells, but they're also capable of doing this. So here begs the question, why would Meta's facial algorithm would not be able to discern Mr. Shore's face if his face appears on maybe 60-70% of all ads? I'm talking about the video statements that we saw at the beginning. So it's like from the content moderation perspective, a lot of questions arise as to why don't we track political advertising in Eastern Europe better, especially in, around elections, especially in territories that have been recognized as being threatened for foreign interference / Russia. So it's an interesting case for sure. If we step outside of the bad content and the suspicious actor, and we focus only on the behavior of how this campaign is being executed online, we also have different points of interests here. The advertisers. Most of the pages, as I said, are recently created, empty pages, no organic activity going on whatsoever. 70%, maybe 70-80% of the advertisers belong to one very big anonymous network of automatically created accounts. Here's a timeline of how this is happening. For example, a page is being created in April with the username Beauty and Fashion, Culinary Creatives, Motivational Moments. They have this kind of long, weird usernames. This page also, like if you check the username, it has like around 20 pages with the same username. They all have kind of like profile photos of women, and they all have the category advertising agency on them. All of them are launched in April. You fast forward a couple of months, suddenly in November, the same page is being renounced and renamed and completely rebranded to feature the Moldovan flag as a profile photo, as a cover photo, some kind of like a landscape landscape photo from Moldova. This is like, for example, one famous lake. If you reverse image search, you'll see that all of those kind of like cover photos are taken from interesting places in Moldova. The intro and the bio is being changed. For example, we have like this sentence in Romanian. My Romanian is non-existent, but it says something about loving your country. So it's a bit like a patriotic type of assets that are being created. The page category is also changed from advertising agency to news and media websites, and bam, we have a ready-made asset who that is already kind of like on track of launching different types of ads. The first ad by this specific page happens a couple of months later, January. It's launched, and the first thing that the ad mentions in this text is the name of Mr. Ilan Shor in Romanian. So yeah, it's a pretty straightforward avenue should someone care to look. We have most of those advertisers, as I said, are those kind of like anonymous pages that are being rebranded and created very recently. But we also had a very small and interesting sample of older pages that were created 2015, 2016, 2017, that were knowingly expropriated from their owners and then reused to launch those campaigns. This is a very interesting set of pages. I don't have much time to dwell on this, but for example, I have one page that was used for a culinary shop in somewhere in near Barcelona, and all of a sudden the owner of this page complained that his page was hacked. She wrote on her personal Facebook account. The page becomes silent. No more cakes are being promoted on this page. It becomes silent. It is silent for a couple of years, like 4 or 5 years. All of a sudden, bam, page is renamed, rebranded, and start promoting Moldovan politicians. It's a very interesting rabbit holes that open up here. But to focus on the advertisers, like the biggest part, here's how the common branding is working. Like pages get rebranded with the flag, with some kind of like landscape, landmarks from Moldova. Patriotic usernames and quotes are being put in bios. Media news category is being selected for those pages as if they were actual media organizations. We have definite CIB patterns coordinated inauthentic behavior patterns in this campaign. For example, pages are launching the same ads across different pages. Many of those pages are created between the 1st and the 10th of April. They are renamed coordinatively, meaning they change their names very quickly, one after another, before launching the ads, sometimes like days, sometimes weeks, in some cases longer. They have this kind of overlapping patriotic usernames, for example, Moldova in Harmony, Moldova in Progress, Moldova in Prosperity. I mean, if you simply select them, you see it's kind of really repetitive. So the network, a couple of things about this network with this kind of very, very long usernames. We see here how many of those usernames exist. If you look, let's take the example, Movie Madness, Express Yourself, Community Connections. This is the username. It has around 30 pages with the same username being employed on those pages. So we wanted to see more about this network, and we mapped it using different types of patterns that signaled for the common branding identity of the network. So we took one of those kind of like weird usernames, and we saw that they are split into 3 different phrases, all with capital letters, and they're stringed together without any space, which is our pattern of coordination. We have, for example, Fit and Fabulous, Creative Corner, Art and Design, position 1, 2, and 3 of all of those phrases. We looked at how many phrases in total we could get, 88. Out of those, they mostly fell in different positions, 1, 2, or 3, depending on the phrase. We calculated based on their position and the number of the pages, and based on the average number of usernames that are being used for one such usernames, the average number of pages that are being used on one such username. On medium, it's like 21 pages. So we came up with a compound size of 344,000 pages potential size of this network. We managed to extract information from 21,000 of those pages, and some of the information contained also their creation date. So here you see that we have very strong indicators that most of the network has been launched in April. Before March last year, nothing has really happened. So April was the peak of activity for launching such pages, which coincided with what we saw from the active advertisers. How do they brand themselves? Most of those, I only share those photos, a caveat here, because they are openly accessible online. If you look by those usernames, you can find them yourselves. What I'm going to talk about does not refer to the women in these specific photos, but we did analyze 250 of those profile photos that were put on the pages, because most of the pages from this network use photos of women and girls. We analyzed those profile photos to see where they have been taken from. And we saw that 90% of those photos and covers are scraped from Ukrainian or Russian dating websites. We have the domains of those websites. Scraping information from Russian websites to put into this kind of empty assets is not something that is, it's not a new tactic. We have another network that we have followed in the past that used Russian language recipes scraped from different types of cooking blocks, together with photos of these kind of like dishes that were explained in the recipes, and they were using this kind of like content to put up as like empty posts in their activity. So scraping and using this type of content is a kind of an indirect indicator where the whole operation is coming from. We have followed in this kind of profile photo investigation pretty deeply. We reverse image searched a lot of those faces. We saw that few of those photos that were used as profile photos were actually belonging to real people that exist, and it's extremely problematic. I don't think those people ever consensually accepted that their photos will be used in this campaign, but yet they are. We know that these are real, actual people. Some photos are a bit fishy. They were used this kind of so-called romantic scams, where you have a profile and it's actually they're taking your money, not contacting you from romantic interests, let's say. So it's we have also a couple of those cases, but we also have like like the number of actual people that were burned in this sense was way bigger than the few romantic scams that we find. So there is a very high potential that actual people are being jeopardized in this campaign, in the branding identity of this network. How everything starts, as I said, April 2023 is when the network was launched. Meantime, Mr. Shore's campaign is not the only political campaign that this network has been active around. Pages from these networks have been advertised another campaign, German-French cartoons, fake celebrity quotes related to the doppelganger investigation. We also have pages that were launching different types of scam campaigns. And here I've outlined a few of those. Reset has done couple of investigations on those scam campaigns. We know that these are very massive and exist for a long time. So we know for sure that assets from this network are also being employed to run those ads as well. In total, we found actually more than 5.3 thousand. We have 6,000 ads since July when the advertising activity started. Over 30 million impressions, at least 6 campaigns, 4 of which we know about, 5 of which we know about, and we've investigated. So it's pretty bad. Globally, if you take into account what Meta does against this network is practically just removing some of the ads. For example, those ads, the political ads related to the doppelganger investigation in France and Germany, they are very quickly removed when they appear. The removal speed has definitely improved, is what we see, because we've been following this campaign for over 10 months now, maybe. So it's definitely better speed-wise in terms of content, but in terms of like the actual actors, that the advertisers, nothing is really being done. Like this network simply exists. They come into existence on a regular basis. And to hopefully convince you in this, and now it's kind of become my thing to follow weird networks on Facebook. And here's a list of some of which I know about, together with how they are constructed. When I say network, I mean let's say like consolidated group of pages that have some typical common characteristics. In one sense, this is the identical usernames. Like there are patterns of username creation, for example, like some use letters, numbers, different types of phrases that they swap between each other, different types of like number combinations are being used, adjective, nouns combinations. Here's kind of like a few patterns that I've been following around. And also one common denominator of those kind of groups of pages is the branding identity. Many have used this kind of photos of girls and women, but we also have other type of branding. For example, we have this other network that uses kind of vector photos of presents, gifts, and this kind of like Valentine hearts or whatever. Those kind of, by the way, have been around since 2 years at least, more than 2 years actually. So it's and they're still going on. Like nothing is being done against those latent assets. Like unless you become an advertiser and unless you become a like political advertiser, your page is going to be not blocked at all. Your ads may be kind of taken down, but sometimes your page may be taken down if Meta has the like goodwill. But all in all, the fact that this kind of networks exist and proliferate and become more and more, like I don't even know how many we have, like let's say potential size 20 million in total. This is how we calculated for one of the networks. But like the thing is that it's like, despite the fact that those patterns are so easy to spot, like nothing is being done on the overall ecosystem, which brings me to my last slide. Meta has a really big bot problem, first, and second, we have ad verification procedures that are not really being obeyed at any point. So who is going to pay for those ads? What type of asset are you going to use if you launch those ads? Like practically, those are very important questions, regardless of the type of campaign that you are doing. Okay, politically is obviously way loaded than scam campaigns, but scam campaigns can be also very dangerous. We have fragmentary retroactive countermeasures taken over, like some assets, some ads. Most of all, the ecosystem rampantly runs rampant without any disturbance. Shortcomings in algorithmic detection. A human and a dog can spot some of those things, and yet it's not really something is being done, and a lot of lack of transparency as to the affiliation of those assets. And yeah. I don't know if I am actually within range, Alex, but that's what I wanted to tell you. And
Thank you, Aleksandra.
thank you. Yeah, thank you too. If you have any questions, you can shoot me an email. I'm happy to contact you with my friend Andre if you are interested in Moldova's case in specifics. Yeah.